Hey guys, and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about this book I have here called An Adventure in Multidimensional Space: The Art and Geometry of Polygons, Polyhedra, and Polytopes. And I wanted to get a book that kind of taught me something about all the different shapes in our universe, the shapes that make up more shapes. And I think this book does a decent job of that. I also wanted a book on higher dimensional space, something beyond 3 dimensions that I could visualize or think about. And this book really does not do that, so I wouldn't recommend it for that purpose. But this is nonetheless a very interesting book, and it's not super long either. It's only about 100 something pages, something you can read in a couple days. And it was written by Koji Miyazaki, and this version was translated to English. Koji is a Japanese, and this was published, I think, in 1986. So you can see this is a former library book. But we can see that this was published in 1986, I should say, the English version. And yeah, like I said, he was Japanese, and the translation, you can tell it was a translated version of another language. It's not entirely beautiful prose, but it is not that difficult to read if you know your shapes. And, we had a few words here: polygons, which are just planes, 2-dimensional shapes with straight edges and vertices. And then polyhedra are just polygons in 3 dimensions, really. And then polytopes can take on any number of dimensions, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to infinity, really. And like I said, this is a nice book that you can read quickly and get a good sense of some of the interesting things in geometry. And the coolest part about this book has to be just the way it's broken down. If you take a look at the table of contents, you can see that he goes through some of the major players in mathematics over the past 2 millennia. Like Pythagoras, he starts out there, and then goes to Plato and Aristotle and Archimedes and Kepler, and all the way to Kelvin and Euler and Descartes and Penrose, even Einstein. And he talks about all of their perspective on the shape of the universe, the macrocosm, as well as the microcosm. So thinking about molecules and atoms and the shapes they take on and the forms they take. And there are a lot of visuals in here. Like I said, it is a translated book, and you can tell it's not beautiful prose. The pictures and the art are awesome. Probably the biggest issue I have with this book is the images are scattered all over the place, and they don't sync up with the writing that's on the page. It'll tell you to go to an image that's like 3 or 4 pages away from what the author is talking about, whatever Koji is talking about. So that's the biggest issue I have with this book, and it's an incoherence that's really, really frustrating to read. But thankfully, it's not a very rigorous book, and it's more of an exploration of historical perspectives on the shape of the universe. And so, with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.